actually a singing competition as part of another TV show that has nothing to do with singing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Decoding TV bonus episode. Today, we have an interview with a very special guest. And in order to explain who our guest today is, I'm going to have to explain and spoil Nathan Fielder's television show, The Rehearsal on HBO. So here we go, explaining what The Rehearsal is. The Rehearsal Season 2 chronicles Nathan Fielder's attempts to understand why aviation accidents happen. And one of the big factors, according to Fielder, is that pilots are unwilling to communicate with each other, especially when they disagree or have bad news to deliver. So to test this theory, Fielder created an aviation-themed singing competition in the reality of The Rehearsal called Wings of Voice. In this competition, pilots would judge singers' performances and deliver bad news if they were going to be eliminated. This would be a way of testing their ability to say things that were uncomfortable. The winner of that competition would have the opportunity to perform a song on HBO with a live orchestra. Today, I'm speaking with the winner of that competition, Isabella Henao. Isabella Henao, thanks for chatting with me today at Decoding TV.
And thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I watched the show while the episodes were releasing, and I was so excited.
Yes. It's so exciting to have you. So let's start by talking about how you heard about the opportunity to be on Wings of Voice.
Yeah, so just like most of the other people on the show, I got an email. They reached out to a bunch of us because they had our information through America's Got Talent records. And ironically, they
Which
emailed my
you have
mom
like
first.
auditioned in the past to be part of?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I auditioned when I was like 12, I think, for America's Got Talent.
Oh, wow.
And I sang, because when I was little, I had a belt like an adult does, which is something that kids don't have usually. And so I went and I auditioned.
For those who aren't familiar with the musician lingo, what is a belt?
Yeah, so belting is just a technique of singing where it just comes off a lot more full and pure compared to like when you're singing in your head voice, which is very light and airy, or in your chest, which is what you'll typically hear gospel sung in. Belt is typically associated with musical theater. That's usually where people use it. So,
right. And so when you were 12 years old, people were like, this girl can sing. And you auditioned for America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent, yeah.
And decades later, they still had that information. And so the producers went to America's Got Talent and then were like, hey, who from the pool might be interested to be on this Wings of Voice show, correct?
So yeah, as far as I know, they reached out to people that were LA based. But of course, like people move and stuff. I actually happened to move in between that time for college. So they emailed my mom because I was a minor when I applied. So they reached out to my mom and she forwarded me the email. And we were like, okay, let's make sure this is legit. So we ran a background check on the person who emailed us. And we were like, okay, wait, this is legit.
Well, okay, so what was the opportunity presented to you as? What did it, was it called Wings of Voice at the time? Like, what was it?
I believe... I don't think it was called Wings of Voice. There's actually screenshots of the email like out on Reddit and stuff. But it was like HBO looking for new talent, something like that, for a new singing competition. And it just said you get the chance to work with a Grammy winning producer. And that was all it said. Like I think that was it. It was very vague. So yeah, I just like filled out the form. I recorded my audition in my room in Utah, and it was like decent, okay? I look at it now and I'm just like, wow, that was.
Do you remember what you sang for the audition?
Yeah, I sang "Bad Idea" by Ariana Grande. But I sang the version. So I'm in acapella, and our acapella group did a cover of it. So it was kind of different. It wasn't the same, but I did that. So it was funny because it was an acapella version of "Bad Idea" that I submitted. Because usually when you go into these auditions, you want to do something that's different because people are going to go in with a karaoke track and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just going to do this a cappella version. So I got the track without the lead vocal and I sang it.
You did it pure. Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us about your life and career at the time that you received this inquiry. Like, what type of singing were you doing? Are you singing professionally? Do you have a day job? What's your life like when you got this?
So I technically had been singing professionally. When I started singing professionally, I actually started during COVID. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit my mic. I was considered an essential worker, actually, because what I did at the time was I sang for seniors in senior homes.
Oh.
So when the pandemic hit and everything, I I was able to get my vaccination along with the first people, essential workers and seniors and people that were, immune compromised. And I got to go perform for senior homes. After COVID and I graduated, I moved to Utah and I stopped singing. So I started working like regular jobs. I was a floor manager at T-Mobile. And then at the time of like me filming and the show, I was working at a security company. I was doing graves. So while the show was airing and everything, I was working there, and I would watch the episodes like literally as they dropped at my job.
Did all your coworkers know about the fact that you're on the show, or
So I could tell them that
you probably couldn't tell them until the end, right?
I could tell them that I was on the show, but I couldn't say anything else. So
Mm.
I remember it was funny because I told my coworkers, I'm like, this show is coming out. It was so funny because they knew me for two things: that I watched dinosaur videos all shift long, except for the night those episodes aired, which I think was Thursday night. I can't remember.
Like
But
dinosaur educational videos?
yeah,
You're
like
saying? Like on YouTube
I
or
love
something?
dinosaurs. So I would literally watch like actual like paleontologists discuss like dinosaur fossils and specific specimens that they found,
Mm.
like hours of footage of that. I love dinosaurs, so
Yeah.
they would
But you put
yeah.
that down. The fact that you put that down to watch the rehearsal was significant. Then,
Yeah,
is
so
what you're
people
saying.
were like, "Oh, okay,
Whoa,
like
yeah.
what was this?" And so I explained, they're like, "Why are you watching that? Like you only watch videos of dinosaurs." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm in this show, okay? So I'm just waiting to show up." I couldn't say anything else.
Right, right.
And it was very difficult with my family too cuz they don't really watch this stuff. And
Mm.
so I had to just be like, "Yeah, no, like I'm pretty something pretty important happens in there and I'm involved. You should totally watch it."
And you got to watch all the episodes, or else it's not going to make any sense
Yeah.
when it happens. So you mail in your audition, the Ariana
Mhm.
Grande, and
Yeah.
then you hear back from them, I assume. And what was that
Yes.
reach out like?
It's like, "Congratulations. You've made it to the next round." And it was like, we want you to audition in person."
I see, right. And so
So
that's when they gather like 1,000 people in person. What was your feeling at that moment? Were you like, I'm going to go and win this thing? Or were you nervous? Like, what was your reaction?
I'm so used to hearing no. I like, but I always live by like fake it till you make it, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I was like, I was in Utah, and I'm like, well, I don't have a job right now. Oh, it's not a big deal. I'll just go. Like, screw it. And so I drove. Every time I was needed, I drove, which is 10 hours.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
so
How many times did you make that trip?
like 9 times, 6 to 9
6 to 9 times you drove 10 hours each way, or round trip?
round trip, like each way. I think I flew one time there
Mhm.
and then I drove back. So that's why I
I
think,
see.
but I can't really remember, but it was a lot, which is so funny. People clown on me in the finale. They're like, "What do you mean a lot of travel?" And I'm like, "Guys, you have no idea. I was driving 10 hours each time they needed me."
You go to the audition, and you're there
And
with
yeah.
1,000 other people. And so, what was the audition like?
Literally exactly what you saw on television was what happened. I auditioned for a pilot. The one that I auditioned for, she wasn't featured in any
Mm,
way, but she was there and she was really nice. She had me sing two songs. And she was really conflicted. When I went in, I wasn't expecting to hear yes, because I've auditioned for these shows in the past. It's very political. And I
mm.
was very suspicious because like the logo is very suspicious. If you've seen American Idol, you know that was the American Idol logo. So I was like,
So you thought that the Wings of Voice logo resembled American Idol, and so you're
yeah,
like, is this show like some kind of ripoff of another show? Is that kind of what you're
yeah.
thinking, or?
So yeah, I went with my mom, and she and I were both like, this is so interesting. And actually, what my biggest fear was, if you've ever heard of WB Superstar, I was
Yes.
scared. That's what I was gonna be on.
Wow. That is a deep cut. For those who don't know what WB Superstar is, right? That was a show that was very similarly structured to American
Mhm.
Idol. But then at the very end of the show, you find out, aha, we actually haven't been looking for the best singer. We've been looking for the worst. And so if you've been featured on this show, it means we literally think you suck. And you were worried it would be that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I've always struggled with imposter syndrome and stuff like that. So, there's always in the back of my head, I'm like, what if everyone's lying to me? Like, what if I'm really bad? So I went and I was just like, this feels really off. Like,
Yeah, tell us about
and
that. Tell us, like, how did it feel off? Like, in what ways did it feel off to you?
so a few things. They told us that they were getting they didn't say test footage, but they were like, oh, it's gonna be we have cameras there, but none of the footage is gonna be used. But because I study theater and I did video production, I'm very familiar with all of those things. I was like, okay, no, there's red lights on the cameras. Like, you don't get that footage unless like you're gonna use it for something. And then we had to sign an NDA about being on camera. So I was just like, okay, no, they're using this for something. And I had no idea that this was like Nathan Fielder at that point.
Yeah.
And so with the logo, the filming, it was just and the NDA, and they covered our phone cameras. So it was like, no, they're getting this. This is going to be used for something.
Yeah.
I'm just really grateful that I had that knowledge of like for my courses and things to know that, because I feel like when people don't really understand that, then that's when they end up like reacting really badly on camera. So my mom and I were like super careful with like what we were saying, because you never know like if they're going to take anything out of context. So
Right.
we were just being really cautious because we had no idea what this was for. Obviously, they were using the footage for something.
Yeah.
So,
And as you were auditioning, like, what
mhm.
was your understanding of what the quote unquote prize at the end would be?
I didn't think it was like at the time. I didn't think it was gonna be an actual competition. I just thought that they were gonna select few people to audition for these. I mean, sing for these Grammy-winning producers. Because they said you can bring an original song for them to work on if you like win or whatnot. So that's what I thought it was.
Oh,
I
so
was like,
that's what you thought the prize was? Is like you get to just potentially work with a Grammy-winning producer, and
yeah.
that's it.
Hmm.
But at some point along the line, did that understanding change?
Yes.
Yeah. So what
Um,
what was that like?
Yeah, my understanding changed like a few days after that first audition, and I
Hmm.
told this story on Reddit and stuff where Nathan was actually outside of my audition room when I walked out, because he was talking to the pilots and stuff, and I was like, he said, "Oh, congratulations, you got a golden ticket," and I'm like, "Yay, thanks!" And I
And for
was
those who don't
like,
know, golden ticket means in the realm of the show what exactly?
"That you move to the next round."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I got my golden ticket and I was like, thanks. And I looked at him and I was like, I know you from somewhere. And he was like, be sure to rate our judges, which I wasn't even supposed to rate a judge because I got a golden ticket.
Mm.
So
Oh, right.
he's like,
Only the singers that lost that round or got eliminated were supposed to rate the judge,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I think that he got nervous because I was like, I know you from somewhere.
Right. Well,
And
that
so I
is a
think
kind
that's
of
why he
odd
was
thing to
like,
say to someone. Just it kind of like puts someone on guard, if you were to say that to someone. So
yeah. And he was like, yeah, be sure to rate our judges. And I was like, okay. And I was rating them. And I'm like, no, I know you. Like, I know you. Where do I know you from? And he was just like, I don't know. And then walked in the room. And I was like, okay, whatever. That was weird. And I remember like telling myself, I was just like, okay, I need to remember that guy. Like, I need to
Mm.
remember who that
You're like,
was.
he's important somehow in this story, right?
Yeah,
Is
I'm like,
good.
he's important. I know him, and he didn't tell me who he was. So now I have to figure that out.
Now you're really
But I was,
suspicious. Yeah.
yeah.
I have to ask, what were the songs you performed in your audition?
So I sang House of the Rising Sun, of course. I didn't sing the Animals' version because I knew everybody was going to be singing that version going in. So I looked for a lot of inspiration from actual like black musicians. Like a lot of these musics, although House of the Rising Sun is a folk song, it was the first person who sang it was a black person and recorded it. So I was listening to like the originals, like very, very original versions,
Hmm.
and then also like how people sing it nowadays to get a lot of inspiration. And I kind of built my own version based on that. Um, because if you sing what everybody else is gonna sing, it's not interesting.
Yeah.
So I sang House of the Rising Sun, and then I also sang the Star Spangled Banner. They had me sing two songs. Um, yeah, and like I was saying, my pilot was super conflicted. She was like, I remember seeing her, she's like, oh,
She was
I
conflicted about whether or not to advance you to the next phase. Is that what
yeah.
you're saying? Right.
She was
Oh,
like,
so
I don't know. She's like, I don't know. I don't know. Um, you know what? Can you sing another song? And I was like, yeah, I'll sing another song. So I sang the Star Spangled Banner, and then she was like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm really not. But here's a golden ticket. And I was like,
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So actually, the show was right to test pilots in this way because it sounded like she actually wanted to give you bad news, but she couldn't. Is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think my audition was bad by all means.
Right.
You know, I practiced really hard on those songs and I was very familiar. But I think at some point, like, you know, when he had the conversation to the pilots and was like, you guys need to be a lot more stricter.
Right.
I
Like,
think that had probably just happened. Because a lot of
because
the
some
footage,
pilots were like advancing everyone, right? Like,
yeah, some pilots were advancing everybody. And he said like that was an issue, which I totally get. Now, I didn't even know that they were real pilots until the show aired. I had no idea.
So wait, what was your conception then? You're like, these are just judges dressed as pilots? Like, what was
Yeah,
your?
I thought maybe it was just like the bit. I thought it was just the bit, and that's what made me think more that it was for WB Superstar. So I'm like, damn, I'm cucked here, bro. Like I'm screwed. But I was just like, this definitely has to be like, there's a twist. I know that there's a twist, but I got the ticket because by the time I went in, not many people were getting the tickets. Because we were like in the hallway that you see, there's people sitting at the end, so we were sitting there for a little bit, and not meant like I did not see anybody walking out with a golden ticket.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when did you realize something was not quite right with the show? It sounds like
Yeah,
right away, immediately.
I went to sleep like 4 days later, and all of a sudden at 4 a.m., exactly 4 a.m., I woke up in a cold sweat. I was like, that was Nathan Fielder. That was Nathan Fielder that I spoke to. And it clicked. It clicked that it was Nathan Fielder that was outside of my audition room. But the thing is, I didn't remember his name, but I was like, he's a comedian. That guy was a comedian. So I went and I started Googling. But the thing is, I literally looked up awkward comedians because I knew like that was his thing, was like really awkward stuff. And so I looked up awkward comedians, and then Nathan showed up. He was like the first one. And I was like, that's him. That was the guy. That was the guy. So then, of course, at 4 a.m., I started doing all this research.
Yeah.
And I found out that he had been filming for The Rehearsal season 2. And I was like, okay, this is for The Rehearsal.
So at that
And,
point,
yeah.
what is your like understanding of what is even happening? Like,
Yeah.
do you think Wings of Voice is real? Like, do you think it's fake and part of the rehearsal? Like, what is your mental
Yeah.
conception of what's going on?
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
I could not figure it out for the life of me. And that's what I really wanted to know. I'm like, okay, well, is this rehearsing singers, you know, to become like professional, sing like on a professional level?
Right.
Is this a bit? Like, is this a comedy? I couldn't figure it out. I had no idea. And so at the time, like, then I sat down with my mom, and she was like, okay, we really need to talk. Like, if they reach back out, you have to make a decision. Do you want to be made fun of on TV? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what this is for. I don't know what it's about. And she was like, okay, how about let's do research on the show. So
First
that's
of all,
when
your mom sounds awesome. I just want to say, like,
Yeah.
that is really great talk to have with you.
Yeah.
So that's awesome that she said that. And okay, so you did more research. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, and yeah, my mom's been with me through America's Got Talent and everything that I've done. She's always been there. So she so she was like, okay, let's do research. So we started looking it up, and there was this one video on YouTube about like, is the rehearsal like a bit or made up, something like that.
Right.
I watched that video, and then I started like Googling about people's experience on the show and stuff. And so finally, like when it came down to it, I was like, well, look, I know what's going on. I know what it's about. I can do everything in my power to prevent myself to look like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, well, might as well, you know, like this is like, I don't care. This is going to be awesome mom lore. That was in my head. I'm like, well, this is good for the plot. Like, this is good for the plot. So,
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, screw it. Like, yeah, like this is going to be a funny story. You know, when I have kids and they're like, yeah, my mom was on the TV show with Nathan Fielder.
Oh, so that's what you meant when you said mom lore, is like when you're a mom, you're saying.
Yeah, when I'm a
Yeah,
mom, it's gonna
I
be
see.
freaking awesome mom lore because nobody else can say that.
Right,
And I
right.
didn't even think I was gonna win. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a real competition because I know that when he does these things, he goes all out, like all out.
Wow.
So I'm
Okay.
like, it's probably gonna be a real competition. Am I gonna win? Hell no. Like, I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna win. There's so many people that are way better than me, more experienced, more deserving. They're gonna win. And I'm like, sure, might as well. Like, let's go do it. So then I got the email confirming me for the next round, which was to actually audition for the Grammy producers.
So that part was not shown in the show at all. The part
No.
where you like work with these Grammy winning producers,
Yeah,
right?
and I know somebody went online saying that that didn't happen. It did. It did
Mm,
happen.
mm. And what was
We
that? What
did.
was that experience? So you had to sing for them. Did you also sing "Star Spangled Banner" for them? Was it a different song? Like
No,
what was that
so
like?
I brought Bad Idea back in to
Hmm.
sing for them. Because I was like, that's probably one of my most technically advanced songs. Not anymore, but that was at the time one of like the hardest, most technically advanced songs, just with the technique and stuff that I used for it. So I went and I was like, I think this will be a good song. It's popular. It's in pop culture. It's Ariana Grande. Um, but yeah, no, I was super excited. After the fact, I found out that this producer actually worked for Michael Jackson, and like
Nice.
Tina Turner, stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this is awesome.
And
So
so what
no,
was that?
yeah,
Actually? So you just like sing the songs for them, and they give you critique. Like what
yeah.
happened?
So they gave me a bunch of feedback. Most of my feedback wasn't even vocal related.
Hmm.
It wasn't vocal related. It was just like performance wise because I did get really nervous.
Hmm.
I get more nervous singing for one person than I do a crowd. Because it's easier for me to I feed off energy a lot. When a crowd's giving me a lot, I give back a lot. But if it's
Hmm.
just one person, it's like it's so strange. So yeah, they just gave me he just gave me feedback on presence, like dancing, feeling comfortable in my body, which was awesome, amazing advice that I still take and I use. And yeah, I said, "Is there anything like you have notes on my vocals?" And he was just like, "No, like you're freaking awesome." And I was like, "Cool."
Amazing. So you auditioned for
Yeah.
the Grammy winning producer, and then what
hmm
happened?
And then that's when they reached back out and they said, "Hey, we're actually filming now. We want you to come back. You made
Hmm.
the top 50."
Oh
And
wow.
those are the people that were on the show. So I ended up driving back for that. And I drove back and forth like twice. Like, so it was 4 drives in total for that. Just
Hmm.
the actual filming part of it.
So you were actually on the show. Like you
Mhm.
felt the difference because the cameras are not hidden anymore, right?
Yeah.
And they still have the red light. And so, what was the experience of filming like? Was it and did you notice the presence of Nathan Fielder at all during that process?
Uh yeah, actually I wasn't supposed to see him, but I'm very nosy. So because I didn't like I knew that he had to be somewhere on set, so I always kept an eye out and
Mm.
I saw him twice before I was actually supposed to see him. We weren't I They did a good job of not of hiding him for the most part. But yeah, actually being on the set was first of all incredible. Um being on an actual film set like that is just so crazy. It's I've never experienced anything like that. It was overwhelming, honestly. I was just like, "Whoa." Um but recently, actually, as of like 3 days ago, I did get to visit the Houston airport. So I actually got to see, like the set again.
Right, the set that it's based off of, right?
Yeah,
Or the location that it's based off of, I should say.
yeah, the location. So it was actually interesting because they took bits and pieces of the airport and then put it together.
Mm.
So it wasn't like one spot from the airport, but
Oh, that's good to
be
know. I
actually,
had a friend go to that airport
yeah,
recently and try to be like, "Oh, what's the part from the show that I can see in the airport?" But it's good to know that it's actually like
bits and
compressing multiple
pieces.
different pieces. So you audition for the winning producers, then you need to go back
Mhm.
as
Oh
part of
yeah,
the top 50, and then like how many other
yeah.
rounds were there at that point?
There were more rounds. I don't know if I can specifically say the number, but
Got
there
it.
were more rounds, yeah. But
But it was
no, just like
multiples, more than one,
multiples.
where
Yeah.
you had to just perform more songs, and I guess since it's being filmed, it was probably more public domain songs, right?
No,
Oh,
actually for one of them we got to sing whatever we wanted.
Got it. And what did you choose, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I sang Blue Wine.
Mhm.
Actually, a few things I did on the show, I wanted to give like little pointers out to my family. So I was in the jazz group. I was barely featured. Like you just see a glimpse of me.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the way
yeah.
that I did my pocket square, I did it the same way my dad does. I called him and I was like, "How do you do your pocket square?" So I did it the way that he does it. So it's a little nod to him. And then the
That's
Blue
lovely.
Wine, my sister was also in my a cappella group, and the song she sang as a solo for the year that we won ICCAs was Blue Wine. So I sang Blue Wine as a nod to her so that if it got on the show, she could see it. Because she actually is in Singapore right now. And because my family is LDS, I'm not, but they are. So she is what hasn't been able to see the show or see any of it. So I was like, well, if it makes it on, she'll get to see me sing Blue Wine for her. So that's what I
Who's
ended up
the
singing.
artist for Blue Wine, by the way?
For Blue Wine, it's Nao.
Nao. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
In case people want to immerse themselves in the world of Isabella's audition songs after this one.
Yep.
Okay, so multiple rounds, and then
Mhm.
eventually, you are told that you've won the competition. Now, before we get to that,
Yeah.
I do need to bring up the topic that I'm sure you know I'm going to talk about, which is that during the course of the show being aired, Variety published an article entitled "Nathan Fielder Created a Fake Singing Competition for the Rehearsal. One contestant lost $10,000 and feels betrayed. I signed up to be a singer, not a lab rat." End
Yep.
quote. In the article, Lana Love, one of the contestants, describes her experience flying to LA 3 times and discovering that the whole show was fake. You talked a little bit about this on Reddit. I am curious what your
Yes.
reaction was when you read the article,
Yeah.
because it was from this person who is a legitimate artist. By the way, timed her album release around the time of this interview, and essentially went public to express her dissatisfaction with the fact that,
Mhm.
to a large degree, the Wings of Voice was a bit as part of the show, The Rehearsal. So, what
Mhm.
was your reaction when you
Yeah.
read and saw this?
So I actually like we hung out on set quite a bit, in fact. And after the filming, I like added her on Instagram and stuff. She never added me back, but then when she released the article, I reached out. I was like, "Hey, I really want to know like your side of things cuz on set that's not what she had told me at all." And I had heard some things from people that were like in group chats with her, and I was like, "Hey, I just really want to know what like where this comes from. I want to talk to you about it." She didn't know that I had won actually at this point. Nobody knew that I won because
Right, because it
I
had already been
wasn't allowed to talk
decided, but
about it.
it had not aired yet at the
Yeah.
point the
So
article came out,
yeah,
right?
I couldn't tell anybody. And I'm like, "Hey, I just really want to know your thoughts on this." And she never responded to me. So when I saw it, it was very shocking to say the least. I was surprised because her experience wasn't at all the experience that I had. And I haven't read the article in a minute, but it was written out to make it seem like it was a joke, that we were treated as a joke, we were not taken care of. Also, one thing that really had irritated me was, one of the stories she was saying about, like, comforting a crying girl, um, after she was cut, which actually wasn't her that did it, it was my friend. She took the story that but she had been there,
Mhm.
and my friend was the one that did it, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. And so I was like, "Okay, that just doesn't sound right to me." And I wanted to know, I'm like, "I just wanna make sure, like, that where this is coming from," because it wasn't my experience at all, you know? On set, they made sure that we looked the best. They literally measured us, like, tailored outfits to us. Everybody looked good on camera. Never once were we made a joke of. Like, even on the show, Wings of Voice wasn't a joke. It wasn't handled like a joke. Yes, the circumstances were really funny, like, coming to the end of it, like, the Bring Me to Life, I understand it was super funny. I was laughing. I thought it was hilarious.
Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside.
And also, we didn't know that they were real pilots. Like, we were never treated as a joke. So that's what I really wanted to know was like how was it? Like what made it that our experiences were so different? Um and so she didn't reach out, but then I just like I knew some things that were happening behind the scenes and I had been told, and I I honestly have a strong sense of justice, and for the show that did so much for me, that I won and they took care of me, the first thing they did after I had like the episode aired was the production team reached out to me and they were like, "Are you okay?" Like they didn't even say,
Oh,
"How do you feel?" It was,
that's
"Are you
nice.
okay?" Yeah, "What can we do to take care of you because we understand how intense this can be."
Like you felt that to be a genuine concern and not
Yeah.
just some PR move or something like that.
Yeah, no, and it was private, like, it was
Mhm.
very and they took so like really well care of us. And I asked like some of my friends I had made on set and I'm like, "Is this like do you guys feel the same way?" I just really wanted to understand. And they were like,
Yeah.
"No." Like that experience was completely different from what we had. And certain things like her getting the contract revised and things like that, that was never the copy of the contract that I received.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know, like, and it doesn't really matter. Apparently, that some people received the wrong contract and things like that. But, um, so it was so strange. It was really strange to me. So I reached out to ask her, and she never responded. And so that's when, and I asked HBO. I said, "Am I allowed to talk about my thoughts on this?" And they were like, "Go for it. Like,
Mhm.
go for it," because
Yeah.
I felt like I know that the production team didn't have like they couldn't have a voice, they were on under a different contract than I was,
Yeah.
and I was really lucky to have that opportunity to discuss it. So that's why I went out and I talked about it because it just didn't feel right to me. And I honestly and I still hold the feelings that I don't really think that it was her honest feelings because that's not what she had told me on set.
You did
Um
not feel that your experiences with her on set were reflected in the article in which
mhm,
she is interviewed and kind of the main subject of describing
exactly.
her experience on set. Uh,
Yeah.
now, that's really helpful to hear.
Mhm.
I think I will be honest with you and tell you that when the show was airing, I was talking with my co-host on Decoding TV, Patrick Klepek,
Mhm.
about the Wings of Voice thing, and I think we were having somewhat similar feelings, or I was. I'll speak for
Yeah.
myself to Lana Love in the sense that it was um, potentially upsetting to me
Mhm.
that these people on Wings of Voice were pouring their hearts out, like performing
Yeah.
with this great earnestness and being made the butt of a joke, potentially, right?
Yeah.
Potentially.
No,
And
yeah.
the way the show was structured, it was never clear if Nathan Fielder would ever deliver
Mhm.
on whatever was promised to these people.
Yeah. No,
Um,
and that's what I thought was funny because in the article she was like, "It wasn't a real competition. No one actually won," and I was
and
there
you're
like,
like, well,
it's like, "Oh
wrong
damn."
and wrong, right, right.
Yeah.
After seeing the finale, it
Mhm.
became much more clear that there was a competition, there was a winner, and the winner got something of value,
Yeah.
and that really kind of helped to wash away a lot of my own criticisms of
Yeah.
how Wings of Voice was treated in the show. But again,
No, and
we didn't have the
yeah.
full picture at the time. It was
Mhm.
only like 3 or 4 out of the 6 episodes that aired when that article came out,
Yeah,
right?
it was 2. Well, yeah, because that was episode 4 that she released that article. No,
Mm,
and I remember seeing your guys's, YouTube video for that, and honestly, that's so fair because people got really defensive about us and, like, the musicians that were on the
yeah.
show, but it was again, we were never, like, made fun of, like, it was never treated like a joke, and but I
Well,
also
I know you weren't made fun of on set, but did you ever feel uncomfortable with how the show framed you all? Like, on the rehearsal? Not on set, like, I'm talking about, like, on the
mm,
rehearsal, or did any of your colleagues and friends feel ridiculed in any way, you know?
we didn't because by the time we had filmed the last episode, like, the last scene and stuff,
Mhm.
everybody already knew. Like,
Everyone knew what the deal was, like, what this was part of.
everyone had figured it out, and, you know, before then, like, you had the choice, like, the whole way they were like, "You do not have to continue to do this if you do not feel comfortable." And, when it came down to, like, the circumstances of the show, I think I was way more open to it because I had figured it out already, and I decided that I was like, "This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun experience," and I didn't think I was gonna win or anything. So I was just like, whatever. I'm gonna be a background character in this, so it's fine. But even my friends, like I had asked them, and we all feel the same way, that it wasn't that the circumstances, yes, were really funny, like it's hilarious, but the whole process was very legitimate. We went through we went through the elimination rounds, and we put all our honest and hard work on it, and everybody that was on the show deserved to be there, like that made it onto Wings of Voice deserved to be there. And they treated us with the utmost respect. So yes, again, like what we did wasn't like a joke, but then when you put it in the show, it becomes funny. But still, it wasn't, we never felt that way. But I also really understand where Lana's coming from about like contracts being predatory towards
Sure,
artists
sure.
and things like that. I have no issues with that. Like, I go for it, fight your fight, girl. Like, again, I didn't receive the same contract that you did.
Right. In the
so-
article, she does detail like confusion around. She thought she was getting one contract, she got a different one. I don't think either of us have any objection to
Yeah.
her raising issue with that.
Yeah.
But
But
when you say that the other musicians deserve to be there, you're saying like you believe them to be formidable musical talents. That's kind of what you're
yes,
saying. Yeah.
because my biggest issue is, I get this question all the time. Oh, are you gonna audition for American Idol or The Voice? The processes to be on those shows are very predatory. When you're on those shows, the contracts you sign is they own you. And most of the people that get on those shows get on it for a specific reason, because they look good on camera, because they have a sob story, they have an interesting story, and their talent usually is like, could be like it doesn't matter. They could be incredibly talented or like and they'll get on because they have a sad story. One of my friends that I made, her name's Ari. She auditioned for American Idol, and they told her she was too ugly to be on the show.
Oh man.
So people like that, that were rejected because of one reason or another. I made another friend, they rejected him because they were like, well, you look too ethnic to be on these shows. So what Wings of Voice did was put together these people that would get rejected from any other competition and give them a platform to actually do this, I know there's these two people that I mentioned, they told me that I was allowed to tell their stories with these things. But I know of many other people who have been rejected from these shows for different reasons that are very shallow. And the one thing that we all had in common, no matter our backgrounds in life, like our parents, immigrants, things like that, that didn't matter. The one thing we all had in common was we were all incredible vocalists. Everybody deserved to have their voice heard, and everyone deserved to be there, in my opinion. And that's something that these shows like The Voice and American Idol don't do.
I have a couple last questions for you, but
Yeah.
before we get to those, Isabella, where do you have anything you want to plug today? Anything you're working on that you want to direct people's attention to, or anywhere they can follow you?
Yes. Yeah, so you can follow me on pretty much everything at isa.gringalatina. That's my social on everything. Also, I have my Spotify and Apple Music up. It's just Isabella Henao. But I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of Isabella Henao. So if you look up Bring Me to Life Isabella Henao, you will find me.
All right.
And keep an eye out for another cover and more original music. And I'm going to be doing something here in LA really soon that I'm so excited about, but I can't talk about yet. But
All right.
if you're
Very
a fan
cool.
of Star Wars, keep an eye out.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, follow Isabella on whatever social platforms you can, and check her out on all the music streaming platforms. Okay. Couple of last questions about the competition and how it wrapped up.
Yeah.
So you go back, you do other rounds of auditioning, you work with the Grammy winning producers, but then it becomes clear to you that there is like more rounds to go, right?
Mhm. Yes.
And then at what point does it become clear to you that, hey, the final prize is you're performing in front of HBO's audience this song?
I had no idea that I was gonna be singing, with a band. Like on the show, they had Nathan explaining it to people. We never got that. So
Well, what
again,
was it? What was explained to you? What did they say to you?
they were just like, okay, well, I knew that there was gonna be some sort of a prize, but I didn't know what it was. But they had asked me to learn Bring Me to Life. They're just like, hey, could you just Bring Me to Life, learn the whole thing? And I was like, cool, for sure. So I learned the whole thing, and then they were like, hey, now you gotta sing it. sing it. And I was like, okay, cool. That's awesome.
So they didn't even really communicate to you that was what the prize was, because in
Yeah.
the rehearsal of the show, right? They
Yeah.
say to the audience like, "Oh, the prize that everyone's working towards is, performing in front
Yeah.
of everyone." But like, it sounds like in the show you were told like multiple different things about what the prize would be.
I wasn't told anything at all. I don't know if anybody else was, so I can't speak for anyone else, but I had no idea. And it's just so funny because of my mindset going into it. I'm just like, I'm not gonna win. I'm here to have fun and get good lore to tell people.
Yeah, but
I just didn't
did
care.
anyone? Do you have like, okay? I get that might work for you, but do you have a sense of what other people thought the prize was? Like, what were people like working towards? What were people hoping would happen?
I don't know. I didn't ask. Maybe I should ask people that.
Okay, all right, fair,
Again,
fair. So you're
I
just
think-
kind of like you're just surviving on the vibes, and
That's exactly.
and they're like, okay, yeah, sure. By the way, can you prepare Bring Me to Life? Also, I saw you perform some piano for it. Like, so did they ask you to do the piano, or was that like?
Yeah, they asked me to learn the piano for it.
So they asked you, hey, please be able to perform the piano and sing for this.
Yeah, and it's
then-
hard. It's hard. It's literally like patting your belly, like
Yeah.
tapping your head. It's very difficult because rhythmically it's hard.
Yeah,
So yeah, they did ask me to learn it.
Okay, so they ask you to learn it, and then on the show, the rehearsal, they say, "Hey, the winner of Wings of Voice is Isabella Henao, and now like you have the stage." And then
Yeah.
so like literally, they tell you you're the winner, and then you need to perform right then.
Yeah,
But it sounds like in real life you were warned before. You obviously knew you had to perform Bring Me to Life.
yeah. They
But
asked
did
me
they-
to learn it. Yeah.
Yeah, but did they tell you? Did they tell you that you're going to be the winner before it was announced? Like, oh, so
No, I had no idea. But and that's what I kind of regret. I'm like, I wish they had said something because on the show, I have a screenshot I thought was so funny. Like when they were eliminating us, they were like only one, like, but 50 people will be going home tonight. I can't remember what they said. I'm just like standing there, just like a tree stump, and I was like, okay, I'm waiting to get eliminated. And then even when they were doing the elimination rounds, the same thing. I was just like, I'm waiting to get eliminated. And I remember thinking, I was just like, wow, whoever wins this is gonna be so lucky. And like so like because we heard everybody sing that was in the top 10.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow, everybody's so good. And I was like, holy shit, like they're awesome, and I'm so like they're gonna be so lucky, and whoever gets it is so deserving and amazing, and they're gonna have such a great time.
You obviously crushed it with the performance, but when they tell you that you're the winner, you do not look like you're ready for that information. You look very shocked at that information.
Yeah, because in my head the whole time I'm like, there's no way. And then I went down to like the final 3, and it was the same thing. I was like, cool, like this is weird that I'm in top 3. Awesome, like that's great. But congrats to whoever gets it. And then there was me and Violet. Violet was the girl who got second place. And I love
Yeah.
Violet. She's so good. If you guys ever get the chance, check her out on her socials. So I was
What's her
like,
what's her last name so people can find
May.
her?
I believe it's
Violet-
Violet May.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Uh-huh.
shout out to Miss Violet. She's incredible. And she's also like super young. So awesome vocals. And I actually told her that they didn't show on the show, but after like we hugged, I told her, I was like, you're so good. Keep going. But no, I genuinely was like, no, there's no way. There's no way.
So then they announce you're the winner. You go perform it. Did you just do one? Do you do it all in one take? Did you need to do multiple takes?
We did multiple takes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I performed full out every single time.
Yeah.
But it was funny. I had lost my voice on that day because we were doing so much singing. Actually, something that people don't know, in the end credits in episode 4, I was the second soloist on Amazing Grace.
Mm.
Was blind, but now I see.
Right.
Nobody knows that. So the once was lost, but now I'm found. That was me. And so we were recording that all day, for the past like 2 days that we shot. So I lost my voice, and we were also in the middle of fires. It was dry air.
Wow.
So my voice was gone. So we recorded Bring Me to Life, and I'm like, guys, look, my voice is gone, but I'm gonna give you like 100% of my 80% every time. And they were like, you don't have to keep singing. We already got like your vocals. And I said, I'm gonna keep going. You guys, I'm making sure you get this footage. So yeah, we recorded it multiple times. But they walked me through the clips they wanted. They gave me like advice because obviously like I've performed on stage, and the way you perform on stage is different on TV. So they were
Mhm.
super helpful. They were like, okay, that shot looked a little weird. Could you try this? And we're gonna try this to make sure that you look the best you do.
Mm.
The only thing they did screw me over on was the stilettos. The stilettos, man.
Very difficult to
That was
wear.
the first time I ever wore stilettos.
Mm.
Was that day. Yeah, it was
So you win
funny.
the competition. It's incredible. I
Mhm.
want to know what happened when you watched it. Like what was that experience like? But
Yeah,
was there
yeah.
anything that happened before or between recording it and then watching it? Because how much time passed? Like 6, 9 months?
Yeah, it was so I filmed when I was 20, and I was already 21 by the time it came out.
Uh huh.
So like about a ye no, yeah, a while.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Probably like 6 to 9 months. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about right. But one thing I will say was production was also like incredible working with me because I was very nervous. I was super nervous about it. And they were awesome with helping walk me through it and getting me ready. They gave me really good advice before the show aired and stuff. But I did end up having a conversation with Nathan at some point, and he was just the sweetest person because we did end up talking on set because he came out, and of course he was there while I was doing my performance and stuff. Um, but he was honestly like so kind. He really like was like you really deserved it. So like we're so proud of you. Congratulations. Like you should be proud of yourself. Um so yeah, Nathan was awesome. Like really, really just the kindest person ever. Um I mean, in between it was a lot of. I mean, I actually fought a lot of battles too because when I got home, I'm like, "There's no way this happened. Like this didn't happen." And actually, that night that I filmed, we got done filming at 11. We wrapped at 11, and immediately 2 hours later, I was driving back to Utah because I had to be
Oh,
back for something.
brutal.
So it was a lot. But I fought with a lot of imposter syndrome. And I always advocate for therapy. I think it's so important that people do that because even for me, as a performer, a lot of people who are performers, they never think that they're good enough. And that's something that I always struggled with. I was like, wow, I got to hear everybody that I was competing against, and why did I get it? Like, why did I get this? So just so much therapy, and people like I never wanted to come off as like, yeah, I won, like cool, like you go follow me. No, it took a lot of work. Like I worked so hard for that. I worked on Bring Me to Life so hard. Um and that's why I say that now my most technically advanced song is Bring Me to Life. That song is really difficult to
Yeah, it's
sing.
really hard. Really hard.
I worked
Uh,
really hard, and yeah, so I just want people to know that it wasn't for like shits and giggles. Like I did put a lot of work into it. And go to therapy if you're a performer. It's very important.
so what happened when the episode aired? You could finally tell people. Like, what was the
Yeah.
reaction? What were some of the big reactions you got?
So it was really exciting because I wanted to be with my friends who were on the show. So I invited them over, but most importantly, I wanted to be with my family.
Yeah.
And my mom had just had major surgery. So I flew out to California, and I got to be with my mom who just finished surgery, and we were able to be together, and it was really nice cuz my grandparents from Colombia came out too. So it was my
They came out just
grandparents.
to watch you on TV together. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So
lovely.
they came out.
Yeah.
So it was my grandparents, my mom, my dad, my boyfriend was there too, and then my friend from who was on the show with me, Alan. Alan's incredible. And we got to sit down and watch it all together, and it was unreal because they didn't know. Like I couldn't really tell anybody anything. They just kind of assumed. And it was funny because Alan was like, "You won, didn't you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You'll have to find out." And he was like, "No, you won." And so we all met up, and it was really sweet. Like just being able to experience that with my family was very emotional. Like, and it was surreal. Like seeing myself, and also because I was finding out what was going on as the episode like finished and I was just so honored that my part in it was what brought the whole season together.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like with the singing competition, and then Bring Me to Life, and then of course with Nathan talking about like the autism diagnosis and all of those things, and it was just I was very honored that I was never made a joke of. Of course, like I said, my biggest fear was being on WB Superstar season 2. And it was just so emotional. Like I couldn't believe it, and I worked so hard, and so I was just really, really proud of myself for doing it, for making it. Even if my career doesn't go anywhere after that, like it's always gonna be so special to me because it just I don't know, just like of all my hard work just really came to that moment. So it was just really I felt really honored
Yeah.
at the time.
And they played pretty much the whole song uninterrupted. Like
Mhm.
they kind of dipped the audio a little bit at the end, right? But like for
Yeah.
the most part, they really allowed your performance to come through
Yeah.
on the show. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Um, Final question: how has your life changed, if at all, since
It's
winning
changed a
Wings of
lot.
Voice on the rehearsal?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. It was very weird because I was in my hometown when that episode aired, and then getting on Kimmel. So I got to meet Jimmy Kimmel, which is
Woo!
crazy.
Yeah.
I was more excited to meet Guillermo though. I love Guillermo. He's a Latino legend.
Yes.
So I've got to do big things like that. Being in my hometown was super strange because like people that I was friends with were like giving me special treatment, and I was like, no, 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 don't do that.
What does that mean?
Like,
What does that mean? What's special treatment?
I
Like
had
example.
I went to I met a friend who I didn't even know came back, and she was like, "You're a celebrity. Like I'm going to take you out to eat. You don't pay for anything. Like you get the celebrity treatment now." And I was like, "No, no, no. Like do not worry. I'm still me, like the same
Mhm.
person." Seeing that what was really fun to me is I'm very open about this. I was bullied very bad in middle school, high school. And I ran into one of my bullies post Kimmel and everything.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and it was
And
because
what was
I've
that?
never,
Yeah. What was that
I
like?
never, yeah, I don't believe in like true revenge, like destroying a person and stuff. I don't believe in that. So it was crazy because I ran into them and their friend group, and their friends were that I also knew were so nice to me. They were like, "We're so excited, we're so proud of you. Like, you should feel amazing. Like, we always knew you were gonna do this." And so I asked the person, like my bully, it was like, "Oh, what about you? What are you up to?" And they refused to look at me.
Wow.
They refused to look at me or talk to me, and I was like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed. That just tells me because these are the people in high school. This is such a big part of me that told me they said, "Isabella, you should just quit singing because no one is ever going to want to pay to hear you sing, and no one should be tortured hearing you sing." The same people that told me that.
Wow.
And most of these people, if any at all, pursued singing careers, and I didn't quit. Actually, it made me double down on it. I was like, "No, I'm going to prove you wrong." And so that moment was just like full circle to me. Was first of all proving like these people that made my life hell that they were wrong. But also like all these opportunities that I've gotten, I don't have to go back to my grave job. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to work graves anymore. I can get to do what I love and sing. And I'm still scared that I'm gonna be broke financially forever. It's still scary, but I can do this, and live and not have to, like, I'm just so blessed because that people want to actually hear me. I got to do a gig in Houston, like people are reaching out wanting me to sing for them for like graduations, things like that, and it just I would have never been able to do that if HBO, if Nathan and all these pilots, didn't do this for me. It really means so much. That they did that for me because I know how difficult it is and I know how many people's dream it is, and it was my dream for the longest. I've been singing since I was a baby. So my life changed in the way that I always wanted my life to be, which was being able to sing and share my gift to people. The biggest thing that I've been doing is doing private, well, not private, but like public performances in my communities for free
Mhm.
because to the same communities that gave me so much, like I want to give back. So I got to sing at like my hometown. I'm going to be singing for my university, and then I went and I sang for Houston and like small events, but that really means so much because I really think that it's the community that really builds up a person, and communities built me up, you know, like my hometown, my family, they did so much to get me to where I am, and that's really how my life has changed. I'm still going to college though, but
That's good.
I'm
That's a
still
good
a college
step.
student. I
That's a good
decided to finish. I only have a year left, but that is the biggest way that my life has changed.
It's lovely to hear that this show had a lovely ending for you. And so I
Mhm.
really appreciate you sharing your story with us today, Isabella. Isabella Henao is the winner of the Wings of Voice competition as part of Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal Season 2. Check out her work on your music streaming services. Isabella, thank you so much for chatting with us today on Decoding TV.
And thank you for having me. No, I was honestly so excited because I was really hoping you'd reach out and ask me to be on. This is
Well, it
the
worked
one
out.
interview I really wanted.
Hey everyone, David Chen here. Thank you so much for watching that video from Decoding TV. If you want to get an audio version of the show, all you got to do is go to podcast.decodingtv.com. And if you want to support what we do, get ad-free episodes of the podcast and also bonus episodes of the podcast, go to decodingtv.com and become a paid member. Of course, you can also like and subscribe for more. We appreciate it. Thanks. See you later.